And so we're looking at week 4 of the Rampage Redemption League. I am Xenaero, and today I am joined by my lovely co-caster, HateDaddy, who is making a triumphant return after recently broadcasting a kind of off-the-cuff version of Rampage Radio. How are you doing?
I needed a drink after that, but I'm otherwise I'm fine.
All right. So now we're in a new week. We're in the final week of the regular season, so it's going to be do or die for the walking toilets. DNB still, I believe, man, I want to say they're in 3rd place, but you know what? I don't have the standings up right in front of me. They are in 3rd place with 9 points. TWT is in 5th with 4 points. Now, there's only 4 spots for the playoffs. Their next opponent, well, their next adversary on the standings as they sit is Very Bad Mothers with 6 points. So they really do need a victory here because, and I'll show you why.
Yeah,
in the rules here on the screen. Yeah, TWT needs to win because, as we see on the 5th bullet point down, they only get 1 point for a loss at best case scenario. So they need to either win in 3 or win in 2. And as we know, if you've not joined us though, a victory can only happen in this matchup because there's no ties. That's the phrase I was looking for. There's no ties. If say we get to the 3rd round in this best of 3 and that match ends in a tie game, we will go to a 4th round, a 5th round until we have a winner. We did see that I want to say last Sunday with a match that went to 4 rounds. So it's possible, but fact is, TWT needs to come away with this with a win. How are they going to do it?
So, interesting map. And I'm watching them practice right now. And they're kind of getting it, take it to them against a team of Disparal, looks like Legion, and another person I don't recognize.
I mean, those are 2 good players.
Yeah, but point is the more interesting thing I think is that there's no Dastin again, so I'm not sure why we're into week 4 and Dastin is not playing. But regardless,
wow, okay.
Warrior stepped up big time. Vinny stepped up big time last week in their match with ORB. So this is a team that's come away. That they can win.
Yeah, their only win is the one with this lineup, without Dastin in the field.
So
it's important to note, though, on top of this, if they win this week, I'm sorry, not DNB, but NLG will have to beat VBM on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple things have to happen. There are multiple cogs in motion.
So looking, and one of the things is difficult to forecast what's going to happen in other games, right? So if you're TWT, the only thing that you can do is control what you do, right? So if I'm them, I'm approaching this game like, hey guys, we just got to win in 2. Let's get as many points as we possibly can to seed ourselves as high as we can possibly go. See, now, DNB, on the other hand, they're actually playing for a potential 2nd seed here. Now, they would need NLG to lose, but if NLG were to lose to VBM and DNB wins, DNB's looking at a 2nd seed. So both teams have a lot to play for here. But I think there even is the off chance still that DNB could be eliminated. It's unlikely. They would have to be swept, so they'd have to lose 0-2. And basically every team that they're ahead of right now would have to lose, which is...
Yeah, well, they would have to, for DNB to be 5th in the standings and lose their playoff berth, they would have to lose to TWT in 2, and then VBM would have to beat NLG. That would knock them out of playoffs. So, I don't have a little standings or like a what if chart to show on the stream, and that would be a hell of a thing. But I mean, that's like there's so many moving parts in what's going on. But the fact remains that there are 5 teams in. There are multiple routes for every single team. Only the top 2 teams, Frag Yourself and NLG, are guaranteed to be in the playoffs. So that's how close it is at the end. as we go into the beginning of the last week.
Yeah, and interestingly, if you're, Frag Yourself has clinched the #1 seed, and they're playing against RRB, who has clinched being eliminated. So that game could literally not happen, and it would have no impact on the rest of the standings.
That's true. Yeah.
So we're really only looking at 2 games here in terms of meaningful games, but I mean, these 2 games affect everything. So both of these teams have a lot to play for. And like I said, I do find it strange that Dastin isn't playing for this. Now, obviously, you're going to schedule games for when your players can play. But I'm wondering if maybe Tiger is thinking to himself, well, look, we got, or was Dastin the captain? Who is the captain? Is it Tiger or is it Dastin?
No, Tiger is the captain of Walking.
Tiger's the captain.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if Tiger's thinking like, look, like we had success with this lineup last week. Why break something up now? You know what I mean? So, and I think that TWT, I mean, look, they showed last week that they're a good team. They were capable of fragging very well. They were capable of producing offense when needed. Tiger is a very gifted runner. Tiger can frag when needed. Warrior is an exceptional fragger and is showing himself to be a much improved player. And Vinny's consistent, consistently good fragger, good defender. So look, like this is not going to be an easy game for DNB, regardless of who is showing up in that TWT side. So I haven't seen this map played, but looking at
I'm glad you mentioned that. In fact, let's show the map
let's
off.
segue into that.
Yes, sir. Oh my God, Windows noise. There's another patch out. Holy God, I'm not prepared. Send help.
I can't do it.
Okay, well, I still will show up here on a second. Like, so the Windows noise in the broadcast. There you go. So this map is interesting. This is the first time the map has been played in any sort of competitive environment. I mean, I believe it's probably made rounds during private CTF, the pickup games that happen in the Rampage servers, but what we'll be looking at primarily is how will these competitive teams approach this map. The flag room is pretty, it's honestly very wide open. Armor does spawn in the back. And going out to mid, there's multiple routes out. There's an exit and entry point on each side. One lift, one ramp. If you opt to go in or out through the middle, there's a rocket launcher and super shotgun available, but I believe the spawns are not super shotgun or not super shotgun, but there is one nearby. There will be chain gun and shotgun spawns, so that's going to be interesting to note, considering, if a player gets burned and they have to respawn, they'll actually have a better long range capability than if they spawned with super shotgun. So that actually is important to note. Looking back at the map, a soul sphere does spawn in the middle, and that will come back up every 30 seconds. Very important for a runner or even a defender if they want to run up there and deny it. You want to take it away from players. You want to jump in there and you want to grab everything you can. A runner can come up here and grab the flag and the armor and try to get out. But the map is simple. Everything's wide open. I don't know if we'll see many runners back here kind of hiding. I mean, I guess there's like little spots. Well, no, not really. You're pretty vulnerable from any direction.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it'd be a difficult map to defend, even though you'd pretty much see the runners coming in from any place. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not sure about the map. I think it looks like it would play like a fraggy aggressive map, but then I could see playing really defensive too. So I don't know. Like, I don't know how common this map is. My understanding is that it is a newer map.
Yeah, it's a brand new map. I think this is its debut.
Well, so both teams you're going to see like, hey, they're figuring this out together, right? So let's see what it looks like.
Hell of an opening match, to be honest with you, because that other teams are going to either review this VOD or they're going to watch a demo from one of the players to see how teams are playing this map, how they're approaching the map. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you'd like to think that they're practicing a lot with each other too, so they're kind of bouncing ideas back and forth. You know, that's how it used to be. I mean, I don't see why that would change. But back in the day when we would play, if it was a new map, we'd all kind of talk to each other and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Well, we tried this and it failed, so don't do that. So, you know, we'll see. Looks like DNB is actually filing in now as we speak.
Yeah, seems like we'll have a game. TWT was practicing.
Was DNB practicing? Server. I wasn't following in the...
I don't know if DNB was. TWT was in another server for sure.
Yeah. Well, we were both in the server that TWT was practicing in.
Oh, is that
so? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it is. I mean, Dastin will not be in the server tonight. So, you know, it is interesting. We talked about it on radio tonight. I mean, you're looking at DNB, who you thought was going to get a lot of mileage out of Ed, and as it turns out, Ed's not even going to play for them. And then obviously you have Dastin on a team, so you automatically assume Dastin's going to play. And yet this is the second week in a row where he won't be playing. So you're seeing two prominent players in Ed and Dastin actually not playing. And in their place are newer players in Warrior and Saltmine. So, you know, not that this is kind of like the new guard taking control, but it is an interesting dynamic.
Spectator chat is saying that Ed is going to time the shell box. Like, Ed is timing it before the frame the asset animation. Oh man, we normally leave messages off for the game, so once the game starts, messages will be off. We do have a question. What do we think that DNB's answer is to suppressing Tiger? How will they counter Tiger?
I think the best way to counter any good runner is make sure that he's not coming into your base clean, and not coming into your...
going to be integral for sure.
Don't expect your defender to win one-on-ones with him in a 10-minute round and not give him 5 cats. Put your defender in a good position, chip him, and make sure that you're getting good quality touches on the other end, so that Tiger's not going to have the benefit of having backup. I mean, it's a team thing, and any good runner,
for sure,
that's how you deal with them. So. DNB definitely has the ability to do it.
They'll need communication, which is starting on the... Wiz actually shoots his teammate off of the Soul Sphere. Both carries out and across. Jesus, it's fast. And it's been changed. TWT is up the first... I mean, the opening seconds of the first round. TWT...
Not even 20 seconds in, man.
The bodies aren't even warmed up yet. And we see
are they going to bounce back?
Yeah.
Oh, my... Oh, dude, this is going to be a shootout.
Welcome to Redemption, where the flags are running freely. Holy crap.
Yeah, you better make sure your vocal cords are prepared.
My god, no kidding. Well, Wiz did grab the Soul Sphere and denied it for the enemy team. Looks like he's playing mostly defensive and quickly returned by DNB. TWT, Vinny across, going up the ramp, cutting across to his flag, but it's dropped. It's picked back up by Vinny after a respawn. It has to be returned. There's so much combat happening. And in that mayhem, Saltmine was able to get out, get across, and score 2-1.
Yeah, and like, so this idea that this was going to be a slow frag map, yeah, you could throw that out the window. It's already 2-1 with less than basically, you know, we haven't even played 2 minutes yet, and there's been 3 cats. And it's probably going to be like this. I mean, you look at it like it's so wide open. How can you not take advantage of the openness, right? And both teams are doing that. So, you know, no team has really established anything yet. They're just scoring. So let's see what kind of plays out.
Vinny's across, but the flag's returned and intercepted by Wiz and returned. What a great return. Pivotal by Wiz, who's now well known for ambushing the enemy carrier inches from the flag.
Yeah, and DNB is controlling the sphere, so that's something to keep your eye on, because TWT will not last if they keep on giving up sphere control. Because if you're giving up objective control, chances are you're losing map control too, which just ends up bleeding flags.
For unable to exit the base. So while all that sphere control is happening, there are just more touches than I've seen in a long time. Vinny almost training it. Yeah, almost getting a relay race back into their own base. TWT very threatening, even with DNB up by 1 frag. Or 1 flag, it says. Sorry, Jesus. My brain's getting scrambled.
No, and TWT's right there, man. You know, we had a kind of crazy start. I think both teams are kind of starting to settle down. But you can
wall
only
run.
settle down so much.
You can wall run
you?
on the back of this map. We just saw Tiger do it. So there's extra movement tech for players to get in and out of the base. Every second helps.
Yeah, and especially a guy like Tiger, the last thing you want.
Wiz,
to
I
do
believe, is across,
even more
and he
unhittable.
had great coverage from his teammates. 3-1 now for DNB.
And that's how quickly somebody can score. Like, before you know, it's like, hey, they just scored in this map.
And
I mean, it really
and
is.
TWT with an answer, Tiger across before I can even recognize what's happening. I mean, it's what? Barely 5 seconds. End to end.
Ooh, so close, so close.
And Warrior
Yeah.
picks it
Can we
back.
slow this down?
I don't. No, absolutely not. In fact, it might even get faster. You never know. If they clear their bases, I mean, it's just going to be back and forth. 3-3 now. It's tied in the first round. Tiger not enough health to get out of the base, and one of the rare times the flag was dropped inside the base.
Yeah, man. Not even 5 minutes in, and we've got 3-3.
Oh my!
Could you imagine defending on this map?
In fact, no. As a career defender, I say you don't defend on this map. You try to, you play closer to a mid. But
You would have to.
You have
I
to.
think both teams are.
yeah, both teams are absolutely doing that. In for waiting for the right time to get across, his teammates maybe communicating to him as it happens, like, you know, hey, can you guys clear the base? I'm running right behind him. So
Tiger's
that
got a spear touch. Oh, and he died.
picked up by Warrior. Warrior dropped it. Can it get returned? It gets returned by Wiz. Another great last-second save from him. Because if he didn't save it right there, you knew they were scoring.
Yeah. And it is worth noting that there's not any blue armor, so that sphere is still, you can still be one shot with 200 health with no armor. That is possible.
Yeah, 200 health, but if they have green armor, they might be able to get away, but with a very low stack. That sphere coming in, very key for... Oh, it picked up by Warrior, then Vinny. Picked back up, and then returned. Oh my god.
They were right there, man.
Happens
But there's
so-
going to be that.
It happened so fast. Wiz and Vinny out with the opposing team's respective flags. Vinny already made it back into his base. He had to have... Oh, he's opting to reset. He must have had low health. And it doesn't even need it.
Oh, we're
Scores
tied.
4-4. Very
Yeah.
ballsy move to reset. The flag's across.
Oh, they got it! They got it! Oh my
In for a
gosh!
cross
What
with what I assume is very low health. We can't see the
he
values.
picked up the sphere.
We can't
as
see
he
the
was
values.
crossing.
But I mean, he definitely took some damage on the way out. That is a blistering first. Hey, pour me one of those.
Dude, I probably shouldn't be drinking this because I'm not going to be able to keep up.
I can barely keep up. Words just don't happen quick enough. But we're going into round 2. DNB barely getting out in front of TWT. And at this point, TWT, if they want to make the playoffs, they have to counter DNB. They have to secure a second round win. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, win or go home, right? I mean, I think too, they're in such a position that if they lose in 2, they are locked at the 5th seed, if I'm not mistaken.
If DNB beats TWT, yeah, they are absolutely locked in at 3rd at minimum.
Yeah. So they got it. You know, obviously they got to win. And look, when you lose a round by 1 flag in a shootout,
Good chain
the
of
last
work.
thing the last thing you're thinking is I can't win this match. So TWT had a chance to win. They just got to basically come into this round and think to themselves, we just need to make that 1 extra play.
They played very well in round 1. It was anybody's round. So TWT is still a very visible, very present threat for DNB.
Yeah, and I mean both teams. You're kind of seeing it, and you mentioned earlier. As a defender, you don't really defend this map. You sit in mid, and both teams are doing that. You kind of are just seeing not them give up on D, but they just acknowledge the difficulty of defending the map.
Infer got across. Oh, he got tagged though and intercepted by Tiger from a flank. Great return from them, but that takes 2 people offside. And Wiz still returns the flag, so that was a very vulnerable spot for DNB to be in.
And you
Tiger
wonder
is
too,
across.
like, oh, is he gonna get it? Oh, nope. Pick up
No,
by
might be. The enemy carrier's in a very dangerous spot. Tiger clears it
what a
and
save.
return from Salt Mine. That's a huge return for them.
Yeah. Now 2 minutes in, no cap so far. So I think both of these teams too are figuring the map out, even though they practice some. it's one thing to practice, it's another thing to play against another team that has a strategy. So this game seems to be going a little bit slower. So I think both teams are kind of understanding the ramifications of any sort of mistake.
Boyz almost gets across, but it gets picked back up by Salt Mine. So there's somebody waiting to take it back. Great work from Salt Mine to clear 2 enemy players. And Boyz keeps it home for first blood for round 2. DNB up by only 1 flag, but yeah, the rate at which the scores are happening is slower. So teams are playing a bit more conservatively.
Yeah, and I think they're figuring it out too. I think both teams are kind of figuring like, okay, this is where they're attacking us from. Let's defend this position.
They're learning the blind spots of the map. You're watching. Everybody at home is watching teams in real time adjust to a competitive map.
Blue's got one across.
Yeah, so Tiger and Wiz both in their respective bases with the flag. It's going to be a matter of which carrier drops first, and it's going to be TWT with now that DNB has scored. They're up 2-0.
Gotta be careful here for TWT. This could start getting ugly fast if you don't get a flag back on the board.
Salt Mine is wounded, but so was the enemy. He just gone down. He is now clear for a few seconds, but he'll be targeted very quickly. Warrior does return the flag. Wiz picks it back up and returns his own flag. Whew. Tiger with a rocket jump out. Very ballsy and almost gets picked up.
Hey, he almost pulled it off.
Yeah. Well, he needed a teammate to pick it up.
You gotta be careful. Like I said, you gotta be careful here for TWT. You don't want to go down 0-3. Look, they've shown that you can score very fast in this map, so 0-2 isn't that bad of a picture.
All they need is to put DNB out of position. That's what they need.
And yeah, and I mean, they've done it. They've gotten flags across. They just have to keep the flag in their base too, which is easier said than done, obviously.
Players across, and he makes it home 2-1, and he opts for a reset. Great move, actually.
Oh, are they going to get a rebound?
And the flag's back across. But it's returned. Wiz hunks down the carrier.
Yeah, and these last second saves, I think there's very little that you could do to avoid that just because of all the entrances into the base. So that's going to be a theme of the map too. So again, it's an entertaining matchup because you're just seeing big play after big play. And that's what a kind of map like this entices.
I think TWT is communicating over text. I just saw a text bubble show up over a player.
Yeah, I don't think that any of them really get on voice. I know Vinny will. I don't know about Warrior. I know Tiger doesn't get on voice. And I know that they were communicating by text.
Is that going to impact these teams on a map of this like
I don't
what I would categorize it as a blitz map?
I don't think so. I think it, like, don't get me wrong, like communication is meaningful, but I'm not sure how meaningful communication is in a map like this. Like, you're able to infer a lot of things by yourself, and as long as you have chemistry with your teammates and you can know what to expect of them, and you're just letting them know, like, hey, need help, or hey, I've got the flag, or anything, you could do that through binds.
Yeah, in the old days we did binds, but Tiger evens it up 2-2.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's
like
possible,
I said, but like with how teams are nowadays, I mean, is Tiger going for a 2 flags 1 life scenario?
Oh my
sure
goodness.
does.
Tiger is having the game, isn't he? How many caps did
we even had this foreseen. We had it foreseen by one of the spectators in chat. Like, how do you stop Tiger? Well, they're not.
You score more flags than him.
It's very hard to stop Tiger.
Well, in a map like this, I mean, in Warriors playing really well too now. If Tiger's getting a lot of touches and there's nobody to stop him,
all the chain guns behind him.
Yeah, but he's gonna outperform the other runner most likely. So now, interestingly, you know, TWT down 0-2. Now they're up 3-2. Now they've got a chance to, you know, get a few more flags.
Tiger trying to delay it.
Oh, what a
jumping
save.
in the acid. An unconventional technique, but I mean, you do have to force a player to enter that to return the flag.
Yeah, and I do think, looking at kind of everything that's happening, DNB is a little less aggressive, and I think that's hurting them. I think they probably want to switch to a more aggressive set, because
Tiger's
they are
being
kind
attacked
of
in the back of the base. Oh, both flags returned. I thought that maybe you would have got out of there.
yeah, they are letting Tiger kind of dictate the terms by them being a little bit more defensive.
Tiger did stop there to turn around and shoot at an enemy player. Is that going to hurt you as a runner? Like, do you, how often do you assist your team on a map like this?
Well, I think as a runner, you're going to have to get some of your own flags out. It's just inevitable, right? But the thing is they're not spawning with a super shotgun. So you have a pretty decent advantage if you can get a kill on the defender and catch him on the respawn.
You really need a spawn frag because the shotgun and the chain gun will do immense damage over these long lines of sight.
Yeah, and that's what you're seeing, right? Like you're seeing these constant chain gun and shotgun chases. And because it is wide open, usually they're getting
who's across? Vinny. Oh, Warrior picks it up and returned by Saltmine. Saltmine getting some good returns, but TWT, yeah, TWT is there training flags back and forth. We're coming up on nearly 2 minutes. Let's look at frags for a second. Saltmine was 61, leading the pack. Warrior just behind him at 58. So, and Infer.
Oh, Infer. Oh, he got it.
And it gets a score right before he drops. It's now tied up for DNB. This does not mean that TWT is out of it. If they do tie here, it does go to a third round anyways, but then it will be on TWT to come away with the victory to keep the match going.
Look, there's still a minute 45. A lot can happen.
I mean, we saw how many captures in a minute before. Vinny's back at base. Oh,
yeah, what a save by
my brain scrambled.
Yeah,
that was the enemy flag.
Yeah, well, if Infer didn't get that, that was a cap by Vinny. So, again, like all the shotgun chasing. Oh, is he across?
I want to say Tiger successfully did a rocket behind him, a flick of the wrist, and covered himself.
So now, TWT, like you're in a classic bind. Do we just D up for a minute, or do we go for the win? I think in a map like this, you can't D up. You have to
it gets dropped. Wiz will carry it the rest of the way. 4-2-4. Tiger getting across, but he's getting peppered by chain gun fire. He intercepts the other carrier, but Infer drops him instead.
Oh, what a save by Infer. I mean,
Eyes on Vinny.
You know, the heart is pumping in this situation because you know, like,
oh, he misses the kill shot.
The game.
Oh, and he nearly captures it. But Tiger's got his hands on the flag again. He's outpacing the enemy. Returns it himself.
Oh, he's got it.
And scores it. Pushing it to round 3.
5-4, 5-4 results both rounds. This is an entertaining. This map, while difficult to commentate, is an entertaining map to watch.
Holy shit. This is welcome to what competitive capture flag can do. Tiger with first touch goes in, like, leaves the base like a bat out of hell, but still gets gunned down. Wiz, not long for the world. Oh my goodness. So we're looking at a classic round 3 in a best of 3. One team with a win, the second team comes back, answers with their own round win, and it's now going to be up to, if we see a tie, we will see a round 4.
Yeah, and
look at these flags. What's going on in the base?
Oh, they got it.
It's absolute mayhem in the red base. It gets returned, and Warrior scores it. It's just absolute mayhem. What do you do?
You know, and you're watching this play out live, and like the thing that you have to be thinking is, would TWT be better off with Dastin? I mean, they lost the first 2 games of the season. Now, granted, they were against the 2 top teams, but oh my goodness.
We saw Wiz miss the flag, grabs the armor, but comes back and scores it. So it's now even 1-1. I don't know what you're talking about, Hate. Dastin is not here, but his team, the team won last week, and they are throwing some heavy punches in this game.
Yeah. Well, you know, you just have to wonder, and it's like, I'm just looking at what Tiger's doing.
Wiz advances on Tiger with just a chain gun and the flag in hand. Ballsy play, but gets it back to his own base, returns his own flag, but finally gets intercepted by Warrior. They are tired of Wiz and his antics.
Well, the other thing, too, that I was going to point out is I'm not sure the sphere is making a big difference.
No, health only will not make a huge difference on a map with big lines of sight like this. If it was more of a maze, I would agree.
I do think there's been a few caps that I've seen from both teams where the guy has traversed across the middle and picked up the sphere with the flag going into the other base. I think that's where it can make a big difference. But you're not going to go into the base.
Tiger's teammate walks up and blasts him, probably sees the color of the enemy flag, and instead their brain is like, that's an enemy. But that's okay.
Well, you're on edge in this map, man. It's almost hard to avoid.
In this game, you have fractions of a second to react. Infer, however, carries it back to his base. 2-1. It's now in DNB's favor. Holy crap. Vinny tries to get back, but he just gets gunned down. The teammates are not there to support him. Wiz doesn't get out of the flag base. Infer grabs the flag and gets across.
He might be clean. Oh, he was clean, yeah. He got the right spawns on that one. Infer basically just jetted across. Nobody touched him.
TWT, they lost two flags in under a minute. A little bit of wall run from Infer. Lets him get the drop on an enemy, and he's back in his base. If it gets returned, that's a third score in maybe just over a minute.
Yeah, and now DNB is kind of flexing a little bit in this
TWT is collapsing.
4-1, though. I mean, look, like, they could still come back. Like, it's still
Tiger
possible.
might be. He does get across. The kill shots are not on Tiger.
So you definitely can't give up another flag if you're TWT. But look, 6 minutes is a ton of time. So if you could just keep on scoring, you got enough time to win. You just can't give up anymore. Season down the line here.
Yeah, TWT absolutely needs a win here in order to contend for playoffs in the standings. It doesn't guarantee them a playoff berth, but it does keep them in the running as Week 4 comes to a close for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, all you can do is win, right? So they win. They've got a decent shot. Like you said, it's not guaranteed. But they have to. I mean,
ooh, good shot from Wiz to pick it up at the mouth of the base, but it gets dropped in return. Tiger's getting peppered by chain gun fire. His team needs to cover him. They need to cover him. They need to pick it up back up. They clear it and score 4-3.
Oh, what if they came back, dude? How?
I mean,
like,
they're making it happen. They stopped the bleeding. They scored 2 flags in response to DNB's 3. They need 2 more flags. They need at least 1 more flag and to not let DNB score again. Vinny, not the super shotgun is not there for him. Flags returned.
DNB on edge right now, on pins and needles. And you let TWT get another cap, boy.
Vinny doesn't make it out. Tiger does, however, spawn frag once, twice. He still needs to leave the base. Picks up a med kit. 2. TWT has to secure the base. He clips the edge of the. Oh my goodness! His momentum was nearly stopped. It is now tied. We are looking at. We're at sudden death in the 3rd round. Infer grabs the flag. Oh my god! I can't even keep up.
I don't think that either team can keep up either. You know, it's happening so fast. Like, I'm not sure as a player you can even react to what's happening. You're just like, okay. Well, you know, I say react, I mean like emotionally react.
Lincoln, you missed it. Although Infer, it gets picked up by Wiz. They have to return this. But I think Wiz with his team, it gets returned by Tiger on the steps. Oh my!
What a heartbreaker in the middle of 3 guys in a
row. Oh my goodness! What do you do? What?
Is that? Oh, he
Warrior's across. Warrior is across. It gets picked up by Vinny, and TWT comes away the winner in what is probably one of the craziest games I have ever broadcast.
Warrior hit the ledge and stopped, and that hit him. Dude, hitting that ledge.
He hit that ramp.
Dying.
that momentum cut. And you thought that was going to be a return. It was not. In fact, it was picked up and ferried the rest of the way to a 3-round victory for TWT.
Now the standings are interesting.
Holy. Okay. All right. Look at all that text on the screen. I love it. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second, right? Let me kill the client here for a second. All right. First things first. DNB played a phenomenal game. Hats off to them for making this probably one of the most insane games that we have broadcast. Certainly for Redemption, but for Doom CTF period. That was by the skin of their teeth. TWT does walk away the winner in 3. But the Sparrow did us a favor, and he gave us a and I'll actually just hand this over to you too. Check this out. So for TWT, they did win. They beat DNB in 3. But they only now make 4th if NLG beats VBM. So for them, their season is going to ride on No Luck's Given versus Very Bad Mothers. That's it. That is how this is going to work.
So they need NLG to win.
They need NLG to win in their game if they are going to make it to the playoffs.
Wow. Dude.
So we are still in wild child territory.
Yeah, because like you think like DNB had an outside shot at taking the 2nd seed, and like we said, they could now be looking at being eliminated entirely.
It's phenomenal. Like that is, dude. I mean, I don't know what to say. That was a phenomenal match, and if you watch that live, I'm thrilled that you were able to catch this broadcast, because that was a treat. TWT fought hard these last 2 weeks, and they came away the winner in both of their matches. They're still in play. They're still in talks for the playoffs. They're still there.
Yeah, I mean, they still need a little bit of help, but like, it's not inconceivable. And nobody wants to see this team in the playoffs, by the way. Like, nobody.
Wow. Okay, so the match in question, NLG and VBM, that will happen tomorrow at 7 Eastern. The next game, however, so both matches, we'll be able to catch the remainder of the Week 4 matches if the schedule holds as it is now. For those who aren't in the server, join the Discord. There's a scheduled channel. Keep your eyes on that. The next match will be Orb versus FU. That's kind of what we were talking about. That match's result has no bearing on anything for the rest of the playoffs. So if you were to pick between the one at 2 Eastern and 7 Eastern, be here for the 7 p.m. Eastern match between No Luck's Given and Very Bad Mothers.
Tell us everything we need to know.
That match alone will determine who makes it into the playoff round starting next week.
What a match, man.
What a hell of a match. That was the result that is going to keep things interesting. It's not over until the end of Sunday, February 5th.
And dude, just remember, TWT was down 4-1. They were
That's
down
right. They were down.
4-1.
They were down by 3 flags. They were on the cusp of being eliminated, and they rallied. Holy crap!
What a game!
What a game! That's going to be that's going to be the talk of playoff radio for sure. That phenomenal job from Tiger, Warrior, and Vinny. I'll tell you what. That's the toilets did the flushing today. All right, that's enough. Thank you to Hate for coming out and catching this ridiculous match.
Well, thanks for having me. I feel like I didn't even say much. It was hard to say anything.
We talked with what we were able to speak with what we were given, and we were given a hell.
All we were.
We were witnesses to flags never being on the pedestal. But thank you to everybody for coming out again. Be here. Actually, you know what? Be here 24 hours from now, because I think we'll have a little bit longer of a recap to talk about. So, yep, I would probably say 6:30 Eastern tomorrow. If you want to catch a hell of a game, that is going to be a game. But don't forget, tomorrow 2 Eastern, the Oil Rigger Boys and Frag Yourself are going head-to-head in their final game for Week 4. So thank you everybody for coming out. We'll be that's it. We'll play you out with the traditional redemption music, and we'll catch you next time.
Adios, friends.